Hey, sports and dress fans. It's Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Welcome our first guest to the show. I'm sorry, not our first guest, our first viewer to the show. I wish we had our first guest to the show tonight, but he's Dave. I'm Chuck. Welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Feeling good. We haven't had a good week, but I'm still supporting us. So I got the Jordan USA jersey. I think we're gonna rally. So we'll maybe get into some of that later, but still got to root for your country, right?
Right. And yeah, that's crazy what's going on there right now. Well, when we start, just maybe checking in a little bit on some other sports around. Obviously, everybody probably knows that Phoenix Suns are playing Game 4 against Milwaukee. I've kind of got it going on here, so I'll check in. Phoenix is still holding a 6-point lead right now in the fourth quarter, just the start of the fourth quarter. So anyway, but we had an MLB All-Star game this week. I know you watched the home run derby, and was it fun? Was it a good derby?
It was a good derby. I'll say this: the people that participated in it really were all in it, and they did a good job. I don't think the format is quite right. I don't think the production was as great for the fans as it could have been, especially if you're watching at home. But I thought the participants really gave it their all. It was great to see. I mean, there were some great matchups. The first round, Shohei Ohtani went against Soto from the Nationals, and they duked it out. They actually went into extra round because they were tied at the end of the first round. And then you get 3 swings of your choice. So you get 3 hacks. If you miss, that's an out. So you got 3 swings, and you got to do what you can with them. And Soto hit all 3 of his swings out. And Ohtani just popped his first one out. But I'll have to say for Ohtani, he started super slow, really, really slow. And it was just it was almost kind of embarrassing because the first half of his first round, I don't know if he was hitting balls out of the infield. He was hitting grounders, by second base. He just was not getting under the ball. I mean, he was topping everything. And it was kind of for a second, I was like, oh my gosh, they've hyped this guy up so much. Then Stephen A comes on and ridicules him on ESPN right off the bat, right before the All-Star game because he can't speak English. And should he be the face of baseball and all that shit? So now he's got to get that translated to him because that became a story right before the All-Star game, before he has to perform. But then he took a timeout and he collected himself and he just went crazy and he racked up enough to tie Soto. So that was really fun, even though he lost. He gave it a good go. Soto won, but this guy right here that won it, Pete Alonso. So I was talking to my friend Corey that I grew up with, huge baseball fan, always was. I mean, this friend is so into baseball that I used to practice being the first baseman so he could practice his pickoff plays. And I'm in for hours. I'm standing as a first baseman, and he's just a pitcher doing his pickoff move. And I'm acting like I'm tagging the runner coming back. We used to do that as kids for hours. So he's a huge baseball guy. And he asked me who I thought I was going to win. And I said, Alonso's going to back-to-back. He's going to back-to-back, and then I'd really like Trey Mancini to do well because he came back from colon cancer. We featured him on a previous show as a Play-it-Thru Person of the Week. And so to see Mancini get to the finals, I was so excited about that, really rooting for him. But I know how powerful Alonso is. In the last few years, he's been playing ball. And, I mean, he has to hit the ball 60% maybe to hit it 420 feet. If he pulls the ball, it doesn't take a lot of power for him to jack it out. He even pronounced himself the best power hitter basically in the world right now. And after the performance, I don't think you can really argue with him. I mean, he was just hitting them so far and so easy, and he crushed the whole competition. It wasn't even close. I mean, it wasn't even a fair fight, really. I mean, he was just killing it. And another thing that you watch, these pitchers. So yeah, his pitcher's 70 years old or something.
Yeah, it looks like. I was like, how old is this pitcher?
But him and Mancini's pitcher was throwing 2 balls to the one. I mean, I was watching some of these other guys, and to the pitcher, I'm like, hurry up, dude. Are you looking for a signal in the dugout? What? Throw the ball. there's time running off the clock, and you're like, taking your time, grabbing a few more balls. Like, I'm like, dude, you're under time. Hurry. So yeah, I think the guys that were successful, their pitchers got it. Like, hey, we're not, spending a lot of time here throwing the ball. Get a bunch over the plate so I can jack them. But yeah, good competition. When I say I don't know if it was good for the fans, they used to do this thing that it wasn't great, but you used to get 10 outs, right? Remember that? You got 10 outs.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes some guys will only hit, 3 or 4 home runs out of their 10 outs. And so it made the numbers, really less. And, this way with the time, they're hitting way more home runs. They're taking way more at bats. But because they were throwing them so fast, there was a lot of time with the TV production that you weren't even seeing balls land. Like, you'd see one, and then the other pitch is already coming before the other balls landed. And so they keep staying on the batter. And some of these home runs, like, I could see them on the ticker. Like, oh, he hit a home run, never saw it land. Didn't know where it went because I'm watching the next pitch come in. But, it went out somewhere. So that was kind of sucky because the rule used to be in the rounds. And I think that's why some of the pitchers may have had hard problems. They couldn't get through this new rule, but you couldn't throw a next pitch until the last pitch landed. That used to be a rule. Yeah,
gotcha.
When they had the 10 out rule, you used to have to let the ball land before you could throw the next pitch. Well, you don't have to do that now with the time. So they just need to figure some kinks out. But overall, I thought it was a great home run derby. I thought the people that participated did well. I think the guy that probably should have won did win. He performed high. Everyone did a real great job. Mancini was a great story. So overall, I think it was a pretty good success.
Now I agree with you. I saw on the scoreboard, one of them was 509 feet, and it'd be great to be able to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it's like that. You see it land there and be able to appreciate it. And everything, but so other than that, yep, there was a game Tuesday night, and American League won 5-2 basically. So good on baseball. Everybody's back to playing again. I think there was a game tonight, and right now with 8 minutes left, it's 89-86 Phoenix. They're seeing a little bit of their 7-point lead dissipate a little bit. Saying in the MLB, you shared with me something today of this guy Daniel Camarena.
Yeah, so since our last show, this fella, he came in, he just got called up by the big leagues. And he got called up and he came in to pitch relief. Well, pitched well, but then he got up to bat, and he's against Max Scherzer, who's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and he just got called up as a pitcher. And he ends up hitting a grand slam off of one of the best pitchers in baseball in his first game he got called up. So, I mean, it's right there, baseball, baby. Like, anything could happen. Hey, you were on a farm league yesterday, and today you're a pitcher hitting a home run against one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. So, anything can happen in baseball. It's one of the things that makes it, fun to watch is you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when a guy that's not supposed to hit home runs is going to hit a grand slam and just gets called up. So what a great story for him the whole rest of his life to tell, and the funniest part about that is in a week he could be back down at that farm league team again, and it could not matter. Like, he still has to work hard. He still has to earn his spot. He can still lose it all. I hope he doesn't, but I mean, what a great story for this guy. I finally got called up, and I'm a pitcher, and I hit a grand slam off a good pitcher. So that was just something fun that happened.
Also, you shared with me of this tennis player.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was worth noting Dylan Alcott. So he defeated Sam Schroeder 2 sets, and he's a quad wheelchair singles title. It's his second at Wimbledon, but it's 14th Grand Slam singles trophy. And if you don't know, we touched on it in other shows, but, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, they're all tied at 20 in the men's singles for major championships and Grand Slams with 20. So this guy is kind of, I mean, you could call him probably the greatest quad wheelchair singles tennis player ever. I mean, he wins and wins and wins all these Grand Slam titles. So I wanted to give Dylan Alcott a shout out after his most recent victory.
That's awesome. Hey, before we move on, we wouldn't be sports and drafts or sports and whatever we are now unless we talk a little bit about the brews we chose for the week. And I'd actually got this over the weekend, still had one left. I saw it on the shelf. I'm like, you know what? I haven't had this in a while. But I actually chose something from your wife's stomping grounds, a Full Sail Ale Amber, and from Hood River, Oregon. And enjoying it. It's got a 6% ABV, so it's nice, and it's nice and smooth. I like it, and it's been a good beer, and just enjoying one a day since this weekend. We went to a party, had a couple of them, and been sipping them down one at a time. But I enjoy it. But Full Sail Ale out of the Amber out of Hood River.
Did you find that? You find that at a Sprouts or a Trader Joe's, perhaps, or
no?
Oh, really? I know those two companies carry Full Sail sometimes.
I found it at a Fry's.
Oh,
just a regular old Fry's grocery store here.
That's cool. We don't have Fry's, so maybe they carry some other stuff there. But that's cool. You could find one.
So what
I have from Pizza Port Brewing, California Honey Blonde Ale. So a California blonde like my wife. That's what I got here. But it's pretty tasty. 4.8 ABV, so not too high. Not nice light drinker. Has a little bit of good honey flavor in there, mainly blonde. But yeah, pretty refreshing. Good when it's hot.
Awesome. Well, enjoy that. So a little bit, you got to kind of bring up your shirt there a little bit. Been a rough week for Olympic basketball. USA dropping a couple. I saw the one about I watched some highlights of the game against Nigeria that they lost 90-87. And then I saw another meme that was like, it was payback. Cause I think the last time they played, I think USA won like 137-70 or 137. So, I mean,
5 years ago,
score.
5 years ago, they beat them by like 43 points.
Yeah. I mean, so time for a little bit of payback, but what'd you think about the games? I mean, is it anything we need to worry about in the Olympics?
No, I mean, they quickly put this team USA together. It wasn't very well constructed. There are several of the people that are supposed to be on this team in the finals right now. Devin Booker was supposed to be on this team, which would help a lot. Chris Middleton was supposed to be on this team. Brooke Lopez is supposed to be one of the bigs on this team, and that's what they're severely lacking. Although I don't know if you can say that as much in the Nigeria game, because Nigeria scored like 60 points off of 3-point shots. They went crazy on 3-pointers. Like, they couldn't miss, and it wasn't just like one guy got hot. It was like 4 or 5 guys all couldn't miss from 3. I mean, I was watching it, and it was fascinating. Like, I don't really remember, unless maybe it was like an older Warrior game where it was Clay and Steph and Iguodala, and I can't remember an NBA game I saw where like 4 or 5 guys on the same team are all hitting threes. And I mean, it was like in a row. It was like they hit 10 threes in a row, and only, 5 different guys hit 2 of them. So it was like they're all just hitting them back to back to back to back. Anyone that shot was making it. And so they went on a huge roll, which was part of it, is they just were shooting lights out and couldn't miss. But yeah, then the other thing, kind of against Australia, it was opposite. We don't have really any bigs. I mean, Draymond Green, who's maybe 6'6", 6'7", he's basically like a center for us at sometimes. Like, we have a really small team. Some of the guards are as big, like Zach LaVine, I think, is 6'7". He's about as tall as Draymond, and he's a guard. So we don't have anyone down low, and Australia was back cutting us to death and making layups, and they had a couple big guys, in the lane that were getting easy buckets over our smaller guys. We have Bam Adebayo from the Heat, a young player, but he's about the only like power forward center size guy on our team. So we're going to really struggle against teams that have really good big guys, because we just don't. I mean, our tallest guy is probably Durant that was on the team, and he doesn't play inside ever. So,
right.
Yeah, it was just It's weird. We have talent, but I agree with a lot of the sports commentators that this Australia team plays basketball and our team plays NBA basketball, which is way different. They don't move without the ball. There's so many times I saw on offense, guys just standing there while a guy was playing one-on-one or it's only pick and roll. There's no plays. No one's moving around. No one's setting screens that doesn't have the ball. They're literally just standing there and hope they make a shot. Or you can be a lot more physical in the international game. You're not getting the calls like you do in the NBA. So I think they were shell-shocked in that too, where they would be looking at the ref like, I get this call all day in the NBA. Yeah. And on the Olympic and international, they're like, oh, then you guys are, a bunch of wussies. Yeah. Like that guy barely touched you. Why don't you get up and go run back on defense? Like they're not going to get all those calls. So they're going to need to toughen up. They're going to need to play more defense, and they're going to need to figure out how to play actual basketball against these teams because that's what they do. They play basketball, not pick and roll one-on-one shit,
Yeah, it's more of a team sport, moving the ball around, for these other countries. You mentioned like the fouls, against Nigeria. USA only went to the line 12 times in that game. And if you look at game 3 of the finals, Giannis went to the foul stripe 17 times on his own and 26 times for the entire night for the team of the Bucks. So that was 14 more times they went to the free throw line in the NBA. And so that was I've been reading some stuff that's a little bit of it. I think maybe some of the conditioning, again, NBA to FIBA ball, and the games go a lot faster because there's a lot less game stoppage because of fouls, timeouts, and all that kind of stuff. So I think they're probably trying to still get their legs under them, learn to play together. Hopefully they make a good run.
And the thing is, I think what they need to do, what would be really smart is because the world's catching up. If you look at the NBA right now, some of the best players in the world are not from the United States. Luka Doncic is not from the United States. Right. Nikola Jokic, MVP, caliber guy, not from the United States. Giannis is from Greece. So there are superstars in these other countries. Luka led his country to their first Olympic berth.
Yeah. That wasn't a foul?
Basically by himself, So I think if the USA is smart, what they will do is they will start trying to see who actually wants to be on this Olympic team, not just for 1 year, but you have to wait 4 years. So what they should do, I thought about this a little bit and wrote a list, but I would look at every single player in the NBA today that's 25 years old and younger. And I have a list of guys right here, they're 25 years old or younger. So because the next time that they play in the Olympics, guy's going to be 29, right? Right. Out of the oldest guy that I'm going to say. But right now you have Jaylen Brown, 25 years old. Jason Tatum, 23, who is on the team. John Collins is 24. Trae Young's 23. LaMelo Ball's 20. Bam's on the team. He's 24. Lonzo Ball's 24. Brandon Ingram's 24. Zion's 21. Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, De'Aaron Fox, DeAndre Ayton, who can't play because he's in the finals. Booker can't play. He's in the finals. Donovan Mitchell, where's he at? He's 25. Anthony Edwards, Michael Porter Jr. Like all these guys are going to be mid to late 20s the next Olympics that comes around. So I would start grabbing these guys because they're going to be your veterans on the team for the next couple Olympics, and pick from this list, make a team out of it of who will be committed for the next 2 Olympics at least. You're committed for the next 2 Olympics. And then whatever maybe veterans you want to put in there are a little bit older, like Julius Randle will be about 31 then. Karl Anthony Towns will be in young 30s then. Make sure you have some bigs, fill in the team what you need. And then whatever young players come in from then that are young, you add a couple young guys. Maybe Evan Mobley from Temecula that will be a top 3 pick this year that's 7 feet tall. If he ends up being a great player, he's already in the 20 and younger USA team. He's already been in the system. He's already traveled and played for Team USA. Maybe that's a kid that develops well in the NBA. He's on the team for the next 2 or 3 Olympics. Cade Cunningham, the number 1 pick. Try to get him as part of getting into the Olympics and working with the Olympic team. But Select guys who want to be on the Olympic team, make them have an 8-year commitment. You're going to be in the next 2 Olympics. You are going to work out on your off season with this team, and we're actually going to try to form a team that will go out like every other team that works together, and we'll go out and kick some ass. Like, instead of, hey, who wants to be here this year? You want to? Come on, guy. All right. Oh, hey, we got 11 point guards. Oh, shit. Maybe we should have looked at who said they wanted to play. Like,
right.
I mean, I think there's a way to do it. It just needs to get done, and they need commitments and some sort of incentive for these guys. I mean, it's hard to incentivize Kevin Durant when you make $45 million a year. I'm surprised he's even on the team. He's like, really, him and Damian are the only superstars, like superstars of the league. I mean, where's Anthony Davis? LeBron ain't playing. Where's Russell Westbrook? Where's all these other superstars of our league that are U.S. born guys that aren't playing? They don't want to play because there's no incentive for them to play. They make $40 million a year. What are you going to give them? Oh, you're going to give me a medal? Like, I got one. I'm good. Like, something needs to happen where you build this up so it means something to these guys again. Because it used to be if you're a young guy, oh, God, you wanted to play for the Olympic team more than anything and win a gold medal. And now it's like, oh, no, I'm tired. I want to go to, I want to travel in the summer and relax on a beach somewhere, and I don't care. And so we just got to turn that around with these younger guys and get them to commit. Like, where's Trae Young? Where's Trae Young? Yeah, he went in the playoffs, whatever. Other guys were in the playoffs. KD was in the playoffs. He's old. Yeah. He was there. Like, where's Trae Young?
I agree with you. The young guys, I think it would really be good for their game. And you don't have to then rely on the LeBron James and the KDs and all of these old guys who, they're superstars. But you know what? Their bodies can't play through the summer and then get right back into training and get ready for, another season, especially with the seasons as close as the last 2 seasons, back to back as close as they've been, so they could try to get in a full season. So I agree with you on that, because those younger guys, they're still up and coming. They're still developing. I mean, Trae Young, obviously. I mean, this guy's starred Booker, Ayton. I'm glad you mentioned him, because I definitely have him on there. And maybe playing a little physical and against some of these other countries will make some of our younger players a little bit tougher, especially when you're playing a center or post down low. And so
and these countries, like we've said, are catching up. 6 or 7 of the players out of the 12 from Australia are on NBA rosters. Nigeria even had like 5 NBA guys on their team. Like, you don't know their names very well, but they're coming off the bench and getting some minutes. Like, they're NBA players. They're on a roster. Australia, even more so. When their starting 5 came out, I knew all of them. I knew every single guy on the team because they play in the NBA, and almost all of them were starters in the NBA. So,
hey, let's move on. One of the things we were going to talk about last week, pushed off this week, so we want to make sure we get to it, is you talked a little. We have the NFL season coming up here before too long, but let's talk a little bit of NFL betting, and let's get into that a little bit. You can teach me something maybe, because I've never made a bet on any sport other than horse racing. You're
coming with me in March then, sir. Or we need to make a trip during the football season, because that's super fun to just be there on a Sunday and bet Saturday on the games. Well, what do you want? So the 2 I love that I kind of mentioned last week is you can already bet for week 1. So whatever week 1 is, you can already bet. Or the ones that I said I love last week a lot is the regular season wins. So you do an over-under. So they give you regular season wins, and you can say, I think that team's going to get that many, more than that many wins or less than that many wins. And I made the one bet this year. I always pick a team to root against. So I bet them not to come up with the wins that are posted. I always pick the under on somebody. And for the last 2 years, it's been the Colts. And I think they burnt me. They burnt me once, and then I got them last year. But this year, they have the Broncos winning 8.5 games. So essentially 9, because you can't win a half a game, right?
Right.
The Broncos have to win 9 out of 17 games. And they're in a division where I think the Chargers could probably sweep them. The Chiefs are going to sweep them 2-0. And then the Raiders might split with them, right? So there's 6 games essentially where I think they might win one just out of their division. So right now they're 1-5 on those games, which that leaves them 11 games left. So they've won one. They have 11 games left. That means they have to win 8 out of the remaining 11, which their schedule isn't like it's not that hard. They're playing a lot of crap teams that aren't in their division. But I don't see them, the Broncos, even if they get that health back, even if they get defense back, they get their leader back. I just don't see them being good enough to win 9 games. The Broncos, I just don't. So I bet them to win less than basically 8.5 games. So if they win 8,
it's hard to see on my screen here.
Yeah.
But what I did was, I just made my screen super big. There we go. What I did was I'm on DraftKings, and I found what you were just talking about. This is the Broncos season wins. I chose under, and it says plus 115. So I put in $100 bet, and what's hard to see here is if you bet $100 on what you just said, you'd win 215.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's interesting. It's just interesting to have a site like this where you can actually see what the results would be based on your bet.
Yeah, and that's really cool. That's a great app to have that for too. You'd be sitting in Vegas on that thing for hours trying to plan your bets out and see what you're going to get the most return with the most bang for your buck. Especially if you're like me and you bet a little amount. I'm always looking for underdogs because I don't bet that much money when I bet, but I'm always trying to look for the most bang for my buck. So at least if I'm picking an underdog money line or something like for instance, in week 1. They have the Colts at home against the Seahawks, and the Colts are favored by 2.5 points, right? Well, if I think right now the money line for that is plus 120 for the Seahawks, I'm probably going to take the Seahawks, and I would take the money line. Since it's 2.5, I mean, I'm not going to bet that the Colts win by 2.5 or anything. If I think the Seahawks, I'm not going to bet the Seahawks are going to lose by a point or 2 points. I might as well go for more money and just bet the Seahawks are going to win, as the underdog. Then I'm going to get more money if I bet the money line than if I just bet the 2.5 line for them not to lose by more than 2.5. So, there's things to look at like that. If you want, I can go through some of these papers, and it's fun because they have all these different papers. You can bet on who you think is going to win the MVP award. You can bet on prop bets of, hey, is someone going to rush for 200 yards in a game this season? All sorts of stuff like that. What's going on with the Suns? I see you're stressed out.
Milwaukee just tied it. Crowder and the Suns just got absolutely fucked on a call. Crowder went up against Giannis under the basket and just totally blocked it. And Giannis came back down with the ball, and they called it a foul on the floor, not a shooting foul. But then they inbounded the ball and scored their 2 points to tie the game. But they totally got fucked on that call. And
you have to.
And then Phoenix just missed. So it's tied up Milwaukee ball with 1.5 minutes left. Okay. And they just called another foul on Phoenix.
How much time's left where you're watching?
Minute 36.
Oh, I'm at 1:28. I'm a little ahead of you guys. Put it on my phone on the desk. Because look at technology, huh? You gotta watch the finals on my phone.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. First half, Giannis crawled up Crowder's back to get a rebound. Literally held him down, went up and got a rebound, and there was no call. I mean, if you're going to call blocking fouls, you got to call them on both ends of the court.
I think we should ask our throngs of fans that get on, every week and see if this gets to a game 7, me and you should just watch the whole game together, and they can watch us react to the whole game. We'll just be on. We'll be on the show watching the whole game together.
That should have been a foul on Giannis. Oh, this is yeah.
I'm down to 30. Oh boy, I don't want to tell you.
Yeah, I know they're going to score again. I'm sure.
Well, you see, Paul just turned the ball over.
Oh no! Now I guess I will right now.
Yeah, turn the ball over.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, and nobody's going to get back and help.
No,
And a foul.
just I almost turned it over.
Yeah, that's going to be that. I mean, Phoenix had control of this game most of the way.
Most of it, yeah. We were tied at halftime, but then they came back out and got a little lead.
Phoenix still held on to it in the third quarter, even going into the fourth quarter. I think that is they were up to a 7-point lead. I mean, that was all on. That was all on Chris Paul. He's been having a problem the last couple of games, having like 10 turnovers over the last 2 games, and then whatever he's got tonight. And he turned the ball over a couple of times already earlier in the first half that I saw. So I don't know what's going on with him because that's not a part of his game. And but
I really feel like it's going to come back to what we've said before. I don't think Suns are they're going to win all their home games and they'll win the championship. The fact that they got home court is going to mean so much because I don't think they're going to lose at home. I don't see them losing at home.
I don't know. I think, they did a decent job on Giannis tonight. It looks like, I don't know what he's got in the second half, but they held him in check first half. And at one point, I think he had 19 points, and that was, he had 42 points last game. And, yeah, he just, oh man, yeah, you're ahead of me, unfortunately.
I don't see the Suns coming back in this one.
So I'm at 22 seconds now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm at 20. Well,
yeah, 20.
Clock's about to stop here.
Booker's not happy.
He thought he was fouled.
It's a body. It shouldn't be called. Shouldn't be called. Yeah. But it is called. And
well, like we've said kind of before too, I don't know how much Giannis has, but Middleton has like 36. And I was talking to I have a friend Torrance over watching the game downstairs right now, but we were talking about it earlier. He's the Bucks. Giannis is amazing and he's a highlight reel. The Bucks are not who they are without Chris Middleton. He is the glue to that whole team, especially offensively. Like, I don't know how much he gets paid, but he's about to get a big raise on his next contract whenever that comes up because they would not be in this position anywhere close without Chris Middleton.
I totally agree. He's when they need points, it's all on him. And
he's going to finish with 40. He'll finish with 40 in this game.
Honestly, that guy was riding Booker all the way to the basket, as much as a blocking foul on the other end. So, somebody just got a technical.
I don't know, but maybe it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
It's over.
So anyway, you this is tough. It's tough to have this game on.
No, it's going to be over.
There was no. Oh, they called a foul, and they weren't even trying to foul the guy. That's what Chris Paul was pissed off. They were.
Oh, he was inbounds. It looked like when they inbounded the ball, Giannis's foot wasn't back behind the line. He looked like it was still on the ground, like he inbounded the ball.
Oh, he totally did.
Over the line.
Oh, you can't challenge or review that?
Not now.
Well, no, not after a play.
Yeah, he inbounded it, and I think his foot was down, and he was still inbound when he did the inbound, which is a violation.
Yeah.
They should have got the ball.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Booker's out now. He probably fouled out. But, yeah, this is This is done.
6 points.
Tied up 2-2.
All right, let me get that out of the way.
Three-game series.
So,
yeah,
I was gonna say one of the things I saw is I in this, and maybe you have the numbers there. The team that has the best odds and the team that has the lowest odds. I show, really the Chiefs at the top still, with the Bucks behind them, and then Detroit and Houston are both at the bottom.
Yep. Detroit, Houston, the Bengals, the Jets, they're all the worst.
But I think that Detroit and Houston has the worst odds, like plus 20,000. $100 bet would get you 20 grand.
Yeah. There's so many people too that, like, I have friends that will just throw 10 on it. I'll throw in 10 and make, 1,000. I'll throw $10 in on the Lions, and if it hits, I get $1,000. Whatever. They'll just worth the risk. Especially if you're a fan of that team. I mean, what if you're a Texans fan? I'll throw $10 and win a bunch of money if some miracle happens.
Well, yeah, and you never know. It could. It happened to the Rams in '99. They had horrible odds to win the Super Bowl, and so if you put some money on them, I forgot what the odds were at the time, but I remember hearing stories about it. It'd be good money. So sometimes it's worth just taking that chance, I guess. Take the underdogs.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But it's really amazing everything that you can. All the different variables that you can bet on.
Yeah. You can bet on total points over under. And then what's fun is if you're there in Vegas, there's some places like we go to the Palace Station a lot to bet because they'll have prop bets, or sometimes the Westgate will have really good prop bets. So if you know where it has really good prop bets, it's fun because in the middle of the game, you can bet on the second half score. You can bet on a second half line. You can bet on an over-under for the second half, like all these different things, like almost in-game betting. And they'll have, especially for basketball, they'll have crazy stuff like who's going to score first. They'll have the same in football. Who's going to score first? Is it going to be a field goal? Is it going to be a touchdown? What do you want to bet on? Like there's all these crazy multiple prop bets that you can make that are sometimes fun to try to bet on too.
Yeah, I was just kind of going through. You got player totals, Baker Mayfield, season passing touchdowns, under over 29.5, rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, receiving sacks, passing. Yeah, a lot of different things that you can. So when you were there last week, did you place any bets?
Just two. I only placed 2 bets. I always bet every year when I'm there on week 1 49ers. So the 49ers, no matter what the spread is, I always bet 49ers because that's my team. So I put a bet on the 49ers to beat the Lions in Detroit by more than 7.5, which is the biggest line in week 1. So they're favored more than anyone. The next most is 7 with the Rams at home against the Bears on the first, Sunday night game. So yeah, I bet that. And then I bet the Broncos to not win basically 9 games. They have to go 8 and 9 for me to win. So, or worse, they just can't win 9 games. So I'll be rooting, which is fun because then I can root against the Broncos every single week. So week 1, when they go to the Giants, guess what? I'm a Giants fan. So I just root against the Broncos all season long. But there's also some, yeah, go ahead.
I would say hopefully you don't have to draft like Broncos quarterback or something in fantasy.
No. There's some cool ones though too. Like, we're both NFC West fans. You're there in Arizona, and I like the 49ers. We have a lot of friends and family that are Seahawks fans. The Rams are looking pretty good. You can bet on which division will win. So any team in that division can win the Super Bowl. What division's team is going to win the Super Bowl? So, like right now, the NFC West is 15-4. NFC South 5-1 because of Tampa Bay because they won it last year. NFC North is 15-2. NFC East is 7-1. The worst one I think is AFC South 14-1. So that would be the Titans, the Colts, the Jaguars, or the Texans. They have them as the least favored division. That none of those teams are going to win the Super Bowl. So yeah, you can even bet on a division. One of those teams is going to come out as a Super Bowl champ, and so there's just a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, individual player stats. Will anyone rush for 2,000 yards? Will anyone rush for a 200-yard gain? Anything like that. Will any quarterback throw for over 50 touchdowns? There's all sorts of bets like that you can make. You can bet on college football already. Like for the first few weeks, you can bet on who's going to win the Heisman. You can already bet on who's going to win the college basketball championship in March if you want to right now. Like they have all these future lines, which I really like because to me, they're the purest, truest lines because everyone's healthy right now. No injury has moved the line anywhere. Free agencies pretty much happened. They don't have NBA futures yet because the draft hasn't happened and they don't have the schedules yet for next year because it's still going on. But every other sport, basically, you can bet on what's going to happen in the future. College football, pro football, college basketball, all that stuff. You can already bet on it. So that's really fun. And I love to do it in the summer because, like I said, you're getting those true lines. Nothing's messed it up. Everyone's healthy. Free agencies happen. The NFL's draft has happened. We have the rosters pretty much set. So unless, you have a guy do something silly like Richard Sherman did yesterday on your team, that's all you really have to worry about is what guys on my team are going to be knuckleheads and are going to be suspended or we're going to have to cut them. Or, that's the only what did the Texans win, like 10 games last year? Now they're rated worse. Why? Oh, because their quarterback maybe charged with 22 sexual assault cases. If that wasn't an issue, they wouldn't be the worst, ranked team in the NFL. But that's why they're the worst ranked because of his situation. Even if he gets there. Even if he gets out of there, he might not want to be there. The NFL may still suspend him for 4 to 6 games, even if he gets out of that whole situation. So they don't know. So they're up in the air. So they get the bad line, But yeah, so a lot of good fun things to bet. So you're going to have to go to Vegas with me sometime either in the summer or just in March. We'll have to do maybe the show at March Madness next year because it ain't nothing crazier than being down in Vegas March Madness betting on the first 2 rounds of games or we'll have to go in the fall or winter on a football Sunday. Any Sunday when it's football season is amazing to be at a sports book in Vegas.
That'd be fun. Yeah, no, I'm totally down for it and throw a few bucks down here and there and test the waters and it'd be fun. Being in Vegas again. Just being in Vegas again would be fun. I was jealous you were there, and that used to be our 4th of July week vacation, and so I'm glad you had a good time. Looks like you did. So, hey, well, we went quite over, but we never want to end our show without first talking about our Play It Through Person of the Week. Dave's Play It Through Person of the Week. So I'm actually going to step aside and let you share with us who you've chosen this week for Play It Through.
Yeah, our Play It Through Person of the Week this week, I think I might have highlighted on them pre-COVID during our show, but he's popped back up. Just like Trey Mancini popped back up with a great story. We featured him, and he was in the home run derby final. So another update maybe, but Isaiah Austin, he's a 7'1" basketball player, went to the University of Baylor. Unfortunately, he has Marfan syndrome. So basically, it's a genetic disorder. It affects connective tissue. It affects your heart, your bones, your eyes, your blood vessels. So basically, his doctors deemed him unsafe to play in the NBA. He would have been a first-round pick, didn't get picked. Ended up going overseas, averaged 33 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks a game for a season overseas. But now he's in the summer league for the Big Three. Everyone that watches this show knows I love the Big Three. Already watched every game the first week. So the Big Three, he was the first pick of the Big Three draft this year, and he's playing for the Enemies. Some other people on his team you might know, Nick Young, Swaggy Pete, he's on his team. His coach for the Enemies is Gilbert Arenas. So, and he did great. He did great in his first game. I think he had at least, 17 points or so, some boards. But yeah, he already showed that he's going to be a big force in the big three down low. Had some dunks on some guys already. So definitely a person to watch in the big three. But I just wanted to feature him as the Play It Through Person of the Week because he didn't get to have that NBA career. I think maybe part of it is that full court and the banging constantly and the amount of time they have to play in the NBA. I don't know what his minute situation is. I didn't look it up when he was overseas, but only having to play one game a week, half court in the big three, sounds like it fits this guy perfectly. I think he'll be one of the dominant players in the big three for probably the next handful of years because he's also not that old. He may be 24. So it's going to be fun to watch this kid. And I'm just glad he gets to do what he loves. He gets to do it and shine and be on TV. And, it's validation where he can show everybody, hey, even though I have this Marthin syndrome, I can still play. I can still hoop. I still found a way to do what I love and be successful at it. So that's why Isaiah Austin's my Play It Through Person of the Week.
That's so fantastic. I mean, I guess you have a dream. You're good enough to play in the NBA, and but still, you take it in stride that you're not, and you go out and still excel at what you can do. And so, great on this young man, and to future success and everything. So, thank you, Dave, for sharing that and selecting this young man, and thanks for being here every Wednesday. Thanks to our one and second viewer, short time viewer tonight. So I'm sure I know who the one full-time viewer was tonight. I think we all do. So thank you, Jim. No, so everyone, we know a lot of people watch our replays throughout the week. So I just want to thank you all. And so with that, I'm hearing a lot of noise in your background now. So let's just go ahead and cut it there. And everyone have a fantastic week. And we'll see you all next Wednesday.